Hi guys, today I'm going to be going over compound interest formula and compound continuously formula. So I'm just going to explain to you what each, variable or part of the equation means and how we're going to use it. So in the compound interest formula, P represents our principal value, as always. So P, principal value or initial value. Then we have 1. Since compound interest, you're gaining money, it's going to be increasing. You're always going to have the 1 plus. And then our rate, it's going to be in decimal form. And then N here is going to be the number of times our value is being compounded. And then T is always time. Now that you know what each of these mean, I'm going to explain to you what compounding even means. So compounding is basically a process where an investment's earnings are reinvested to generate additional earnings over time. So it's on interest. So for example, let's say we compound monthly. Let me just write this here on the side. Let's say we're compounding monthly, but we want to think of it on a larger scale. So in 1 year, how many times are you compounding if you're doing it monthly? You're doing it 12 times. So that means that you're basically reinvesting every month throughout the year. So if it says, let's say you're investing money, right, and you're compounding it monthly, you're gonna have to replace N here with 12 because that's how many times you're reinvesting in 1 year. But the main thing you want to know is that the more times you compound, the more money you're making. So let's say if you were to do it weekly, right, how many weeks are in a year? 52. So this time you'll be compounding 52 times. But now let's say you do it daily, you'll be compounding 365 times, and then so on. Basically the main point is the more you compound, the more money you're making. Anyways, now let's do compounding continuously. So here we actually introduce a new variable known as E. So here the P and the R and T, they stay the same. So principal value, rate, and time. On your calculator actually, E right here, no, it's basically a constant. So E has its own value when you put it in the calculator. So when you're compounding continuously, it's basically like you're compounding forever. Now, compounding continuously basically means when interest is added onto an account, principal balance at every possible instant. So it's like basically an infinite number of times per year. So this would probably generate you the most amount of money. So another way you could call it is PERT, P-E-R-T. So it's going to provide the maximum possible interest for a given rate and time. And knowing this, we'll be able to introduce logarithms, log, which we will go over in another video.